Hello, everybody. This is Krunal Nayak, your podcast host from My Australian Journey. And today, in our session, we have a very exciting guest from Nidhi Perception. I would like to welcome Nidhi Trivedi. Hello, Nidhi. How are you today?
Hi, Kunal. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. And I'm absolutely all right and really excited to have a great chat with you on this podcast.
That's great. We are pretty much excited. Triple than yours excitement. We have we have searched your profile, and you've been mental health coach for kids and for adults. So we have a migrant community who is pretty much uh, I would say they are eager to know about these things. And personally, me, I want to bring that mental health perception to people, and why I need the perception. So, could you please, before we start anything else, could you please introduce yourself as who is Nidhi and what is the Nidhi perception, please?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for this wonderful introduction. I can see that how much of the things that you have gone through.
Mhm.
And yes, as you said, that Nidhi is all about mental health, I would say. My
Mhm.
passion and my career, everything has started with mental health. I've done my bachelor's in psychology, I have done my diploma in counseling, and I've been working in Australia for more than 10 plus years now into this sector. So I have always worked with children and always have been that passionate about, coming from the background of India. I have always felt that we always need a support in some or the other way. And continuing with that journey in India, also I was working with an NGO, and the NGO name was Seva. I hope people must have heard about it. It's
Yeah.
self employed women association, and I've been there and I've seen lots of struggle that people go into and so many different things. So I just thought that this should be what is clicking me so hard from inside, and I just decided that yes, this is what I need to do. So when I came in Australia in 2010. I just started with this, my same career, my same passion, because I never wanted to do anything else. And after working for so long, I have got my friends, families, and everyone telling me that you should not work in this small community just for one sector. You should always come out with so many different aspects that you have got inside you, and you should bring that to different communities, different people, and different businesses. And in that way, one of my very good friend, my childhood friend, he just told me that you should start with your own company. And I was like, seriously? I don't think so, because I never had that thought inside me. I was like,
Right.
okay, I'm happy going. I'm having my own, uh, you know, a small bubble where I'm working, and everything
Mhm.
is going all right. I don't know anything about business, and I don't think I can do it. So that was my first thing. And he just told me that being a mental health practitioner, like, you should not have this thought. You should take it as a challenge and just try your best
Right.
to work for it. And then his name is Bhargav, and he just told me that yes, let's start. And he gave me this name of Nidhi Perception, because he said that your perception towards mental health is so different to what people are doing around you. So let us have this started. And in this way, I just started with Nidhi Perception when I launched my own book
Mhm.
in February. And it has been an amazing journey, I would say. Like, since I've started Nidhi Perception, I have been meeting so many different people around me. I have been, people have been calling me from different sectors. They have been coming more forward, talking about what is mental health, and I think it's just amazing. And I just feel like so much blessed that I have started with Nidhi Perception.
That's great. That's great. Good to hear that. Okay. So you just mentioned about the book, The Lives Inside Your Head. So you wrote that book. Perfect. Excellent. So can we please talk about the book a little bit? I've seen some reviews on that book, and that's pretty phenomenal. And I've seen some from Ankit Trivedi as well, one of the renowned writer, poet, and all that. So can we please talk about it a little bit?
Yeah. So basically, with the background of psychology, I'm also into arts. I love music a lot. So I have done my classical training and 13 years of stage programs and everything in singing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also a national award winner in music from Banaras. So, with that context, I have got many people who are in the field of art,
Hmm.
and I love to write. So, just as a passion again, I just used to write whatever that hits my mind, and if a thought comes, I never want that to go away. So I always make sure that, okay, if you want to, you know, if you have that thing inside you, you should just bring it out. So in that sense, I just started with a thought that was hitting me again hard, that what is a difference between a logical mind and an emotional mind? And I started digging into it, and I just came out with that a conversation of, sometimes we just think that this is right, this is wrong. Sometimes we are so emotional, and then we just think that, oh, I don't think that we should think like that. And sometimes our friends say that, oh, you need to be very much practical, you are thinking too emotional. And we are just stuck in that situation or a dilemma, and we don't know what to think, and we don't know, like, what is right or what is wrong. And then it was like, is there anything really right and wrong in this world? Because there are
Oh.
always two sides of a coin.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
all these thoughts were just inside me, and I just thought to put that as a conversation. So in this book, so the title itself says the lives inside our head. So I always think that everyone is living a life which is inside themselves, and there is always a certain type of communication that we always have with ourselves. you know
Mm-hmm.
Whatever we are doing outside, but there is something inside, we always talk with ourselves. We don't know what it is, but there is that inner voice. So in this book, I have given that a conversation about you and me and what
Mm-hmm.
it is. And the next chapter, it just talks about the clarity of what a mind is, and
Mm-hmm.
how does that work, how does the logic comes, and all that things in the book.
Wow, amazing. Um, the book itself, it's basically it's talking to yourself. When you talk to yourself, and when you whatever the lives you are living inside your head, uh, what is the difference you have seen most commonly in the people, that the life they live inside their head and the life they live outside, is that different, or it's how it works basically? What's the concept of this life inside and outside? Does it, I know it's different for everyone, so people live the different life inside, and they live different life outside. Should it be that way, or what's the concept?
Yeah. So again, to start with, that there is nothing right or wrong, first of
Yeah.
all. And
Yeah.
another thing is, everything is interlinked.
Hmm.
So the whole gist, or the whole beauty of an individual living a life which is outside or inside, is everything interlinked. People
Right.
go from back and forth and back, and it's just like a jumbled up thing.
Hmm.
And they all pick up the things according to a person's experience of their life, their culture, their background, their upbringing, their situations of
I mean,
life with, you
convenience.
know yeah, their convenience too. Their convenience, their defense mechanism, their, like, because we can see that people would say, for example, social media. Okay,
Hmm.
people will always show you their best. I have never seen a person talking about their failure on social media,
Absolutely.
because everything, people wants to show everything which is beautiful, everything which is, absolutely going so well. But
Yeah.
at the other end, sometimes we miss out that we can see something beautiful because there is something ugly, and that is also beautiful in its own sense
Right.
you know So
Right.
I feel that taking life as what it is and making it better according to your inner strength, working on your passion rather than working on your weaknesses. Because we are too focused on our weaknesses. We always think that, if I don't know this, people are going to judge me so fast.
Mm.
But and we always tell our children also, like when we have a small child in our family, we say that, oh, can you sing that nursery rhyme that you know very well? you know
Yeah.
so that is so much reinforced, so much mechanic, that when that child grows, he knows that, okay, if I'm good at something, that is what I need to show.
Sure. Correct. And
So they are
that's
very
where I
small,
can
small
go.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is how the world works. So many things are there, like it's a dynamic thing again. But we always train our brain in the sense where we are bound to see something beautiful. If
Yeah.
you're famous, if you're popular, if you're beautiful, you're all set.
Right. Right. So, and what is the actual picture? What it should be? I know you just said, well, nothing wrong is nothing's right, but what's Nidhi's perception?
So Nidhi, perception is basically about knowing your inner self. I
Right.
basically always believe that if you feel that you want to go to a certain path, and if you are really into it, go for it. I don't
Right.
see anything is right or anything is wrong. But yes, your inner reflection is what makes you very unique and very dynamic. So I always tell my clients, or I work with lots of children who have got behavioral problems.
Hmm.
And I always felt that when a flower is blooming, it is important that let them bloom. I love
Mm.
when a child becomes anger. I always feel that your emotion needs to come out in your fullest. Whatever you do it in your fullest. If you want
Right.
to cry, cry out loud. If you want to laugh, laugh out loud. There is nothing where you have to stop yourself.
Right.
And that is the best way to live.
Yeah.
Because if you don't understand that process, you can never understand how you can dive deep into something you are really passionate about.
Hmm.
So it is important to just go into it, dig into it.
Right. Absolutely. So, okay, let's talk about more about your work. So, who do you help? Basically, just only kids or adults as well? Who can get help from this perception?
Yeah, so I do help adults too, and also I help kids. Basically,
Hmm.
for kids, I work for behavioral problems, and I work with behavioral plan. I work with children who have got autism, ADHD, Fragile X, and all different types of problems. And I also work with adults with depression, anxiety, and all sorts of things. Yeah.
Right. So, let's say my child needs help. As a parent, how do I determine? Because see, being a parent, we become very defensive for our kids. So we feel that my child is doing okay, even they are not. So when I try to find out, like my child is doing okay or not, if uh, should I need help or should I seek help? How, being a parent, how do I determine that my child needs help?
Yeah. So this is the problem, I would say, a very common dilemma that all the parents go through.
Hmm.
As you said, the acceptance of whether something is all right or not with your child is the big, big thing.
Yeah.
And as a mental health professional, and as a mother, I feel I can step into that thing and I can feel the same
Hmm.
if that this question comes. So the first thing I always say is, when you have that question that your child is having a problem, or you feel that there is something going around, I would always say that with the same age level, you should always look around and see what are the developmental milestone of a child is. You know,
Hmm.
so, if you feel that, okay, this is something which you are often facing with your child, or you feel that, this is what I feel that it is very different from or very obvious, I would
Mhm.
say just go and have a chat with a mental health practitioner, or even if you go to your GP, they might redirect you to go for the further process. But I would say there is no harm in going and talking about it, because when you talk about something, you always find different ways and solutions to your problems.
Right.
Yeah.
So, at Nidhi's perception, let's say if I come to you for myself or my child, how do you approach your clients? How what's the way of your first approach? And what do I expect at Nidhi's perception when I come to you?
Okay. So when you come to me, my approach is I never approach the client first. As you said, as a parent, if you feel that your child has got a problem, I will always have my first session with with the parents of that child,
Mhm.
because understanding the mindset of parents is very important for me,
Right.
because then I try to work with the same mindset, that the expectation of the parents that they carry for their child, and then I try to observe the child, and then with my observation I come back to parents, and then I have a talk with them that this is what I feel, this is what you have felt, and this is where we are standing, and this is how we can work together.
All right. And does that work same with adults, or how it works with adults?
With adults I would say it's more complex because with adults it is more about understanding their own mindset. There is nothing where I have to deal with anyone else, but yes,
Mhm.
talking to my client absolutely, and trying to understand their goals. So I have got my own evaluation, where I give it to them, and then I start from there.
All right. Okay. And last question about Nidhi's perception is, let's say if someone wants to reach out to you to seek help for themselves or for their kids, how do they reach out to you?
So I have my own website,
Mhm.
where there is a form, and I will get email. Another
Mhm.
thing, everywhere on social media, we are there on LinkedIn, on Facebook, Instagram. So people can access me, and they can email me directly too. They can give me a call. I've got my number over there.
Mhm.
So there are lots of ways. And I'm also very active in Wyndham community.
Mhm.
So people can access me through there also.
That's great. And I put the link in the description for this perception in this podcast. So if you want to reach out to Nidhi, please click that link and get some help from Nidhi. Thank you so much, Nidhi. All right. So, Nidhi, thank you so much for introducing your business, your activities you're doing in Australia, helping people. But let's say now, before being an Australian or helping here with the people, you've been a migrant, and all our podcast is about the migrants. So, now let's deep dive back into the past when you arrived in Australia. So, tell us about that. Why you have chosen Australia to get settled here?
All right. Okay. So again, as I said, that I always wanted to study. I'm a very passionate reader, and I love to explore different people, community, and everything. But when I was in India, I was also in the same field, where I used to meet different people and everything. And I used to work with lots of foreigners in India too, in an NGO that I was working back. So when I got engaged with my partner, he also wanted to work, because his whole friend circle is in Australia. So he
Mhm.
always wanted to, come to a different country. And I don't know, we never thought about USA, or we never thought about any other country. And so when I met him, he just said he's a civil engineer by profession, and he said that, I want to go. And I said that, well, I also want to go. And we just started, and I think we just came over here with our PR, and it was like very cut clear for us. Like there was nothing that we had any confusion about whether we should go as a student, this or that. I never wanted to come as a student. I always wanted to come as,
As a
having
migrant.
some, yeah, as a migrant, yeah.
Yeah. So you just straight away migrated as a permanent resident to Australia. All right, great. That's good. It's good way. So next question is, it's just sit around there. So what difference in the lifestyle, what you have observed while you were in India and when you came to Australia? Your profession is the same in both countries, right? So what's the difference in work lifestyle or work culture you faced when you were in India and when you were in Australia?
Oh wow, this is a nice question. I love it. Thank you for asking me this. I would say that when I came to Australia, even though I was working in the same culture, same background, everything, there was a huge, huge, huge amount of feeling of isolation, I would say, for a particular time,
Hmm.
because I felt that I have done my studies in English medium. Okay. When I came here, it was a struggle for me to understand the accent. It
Right.
was a struggle for me to accept the culture that I had back in India, because maybe, when you are living or when you're born in a country where everything is so comfortable, you don't have to think anything out of your comfort zone.
Hmm.
When I came here, I felt that I have got no clue of where I am. And again, it was so quiet that even if a needle would fall, I would feel that, oh my God, I have never been in this quiet state of mind before. Like, I love to be, I am a spiritual person, but this quietness was just killing me somewhere because I had no one to talk with. And when I came back, we had that calling card system where you
Yes,
call from a
yes,
card and
correct.
then the money finishes and it just hangs up.
Just hangs up, yeah.
And so that was only the survival thing that I used to look for to call back to my family and talk to
Yeah.
them that, this is like so different.
And then 100 minutes, and then you get 200 minutes card, and then
Yes.
it's just $10, 700 minutes. Oh my God. It's the
And
most
then
beautiful
again,
thing, right?
when you're
Mhm.
in a different country, you start counting and calculating in dollars, that oh my God, it is getting so expensive.
It is. It was right. It was a
Yeah.
different world, right? And I don't know how that calling card concept came in, but it was amazing. Thank you for bringing those memory back. So let's refresh some memories of when you first arrived. So, um, have you before arriving to Australia, have you visited any other foreign countries, or it was your first
My
visit to any other
first.
nation?
It was my
First,
first international country. Yeah.
all right. And so you came as a family together, or your husband came in first, or you came in first, and
No, we
how did
came. We came together.
you came together, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And how was the first few months, struggling for jobs and accommodation, and how did that work out for you?
Well, so my story was, I was 5 months pregnant with my child when I first
Wow.
came to Australia,
Okay.
and I had no clue. But as I said before, my husband, college group is over here,
Hmm.
so that was one of the really good thing that they were there to help us, to support us. So we went to his place, like their place, and we lived there. And I think we were there for 2 months, not more than that, in
All right.
Melbourne, and then we moved to Queensland because my husband was trying to look for work and he couldn't get in Melbourne. I think it was a boom at that time, and because I was again carrying a baby, so it was very difficult for me to travel, and everything was just clueless. I
All right.
We did not knew anything. So another friend, he was in back in Queensland in Mackay, and we just went there and we lived there for 10 years.
Wow. In Queensland,
In
whereabouts?
Queens,
In
in
Brisbane
Mackay,
or
in
Mackay? All
Mackay.
right. Okay. Wow. Wow. Amazing.
So
Amazing.
I
Right.
lived.
So, all right. I
Yeah.
have a lot of question for you then.
So in Mackay, we were in a mining town, a very small town, and there I just forgot that I'm in Australia
Oh
because
my.
I never had that feeling
Right.
like Melbourne, but
Right.
very different feeling. That
Yeah. Yeah.
was, I would say, Australia in a very different way, a
Yeah.
countryside.
Let's talk more about it. So people don't know who this is Mackay is like. most of the people who live overseas, they don't have a clue where Mackay is. But I will
Yeah.
show on this Google map, just on a side clip that where Mackay is, and they will feel like where it is. So can you please talk about it? Like right now, you're in Melbourne. Am I right?
Yeah.
And what is the difference between living in Melbourne and living in Mackay? So could you please let us familiarize our audience, like what is Mackay looks like?
Okay, so Mackay is basically from Brisbane. It's 900 kilometer north. So you go
Right.
up.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a pleasant. The climate is beautiful. Of course, the
Beautiful.
Queensland climate is really really beautiful. It's a small town, so people are so much welcoming. People know each other. Everything is accessible. You don't have to have a car if you want to go in Mackay. Like you can still walk, and you can still go to a grocery store, and you can still have everything in your life. But again, it's a life of very very comfort, I would say, because everything shuts down at 5.
Right.
There is no hazy jazzy things. Lots of old
No
people.
party animals.
You can see lots of kangaroos.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's, yeah, it's I would say that I had a beautiful bunch of friends over there, and still they are so beautiful. And I that family, the family that we had all together, we always used to go to one park.
Hmm.
That was the Mullerian Park. We every Saturday, I remember, we used to have that takeaway, and we used to sit in that park, and children used to play. And
Right.
that was our fun
Right.
for all
So
these 10 years.
could you please tell us that were there any Indian families living in Mackay when you
Yeah,
moved
yeah, yeah.
in?
Yeah,
Yeah.
lots
How
of
many?
Indian families. Yeah, yeah.
Lots of Indian
Lots of
families.
Indian
Wow.
families. Yeah.
Wow. Great. And being like you were carrying a baby, being pregnant, and when you got there, how was your experience? Like, okay, so because you might crave food or things like that when you're newly settling there, plus having carrying a baby, you must be in your end of your pregnancy at that point. How was that time for you as an individual? Was it uh, good, or you struggled at that stage?
I would say that people always struggle even if they are in a very good position. There is always because because there is no
Absolutely.
point where you
Absolutely.
feel that you are absolutely 100% in the situation
Mm,
that you are, I
mm,
would say.
mm.
So it is just accepting. But yes, when I was back in that moment of time, I would say that I never had the thought that that I want certain, like my expectation that like, oh wow, people are going to treat me like that, or like, no, I was very happy in the space I was. And because we moved, and we just had everything so different. For me, the most important thing was that everything just goes on well, my husband gets a good job, and I think that was my struggle at that moment of time,
Mm.
and nothing else. And
Right.
having and because I was in Mackay, and it's a mining town, the rent at that time was so high that it was like, for one room, I would say it was 380 per week.
Wow. Wow.
So having the
And what
house, you
year
would
we
not
talking
get it.
about? What year we
Sorry.
talking about? What year we are talking about?
2010. 2010.
2010. Right.
Yes.
And can you please give us a comparison? So for our odd viewers, that what was the rent in Melbourne and what was in Mackay?
Yeah, so for Melbourne, to be frank, we did not choose to have a house over here, because we just thought that, because of the transportation and everything, um, and we just left for Mackay. But I think for Melbourne it was not that high, because you can get a house for sharing and everything. But in Mackay, the situation was absolutely different.
Yeah. Because I was renting a house in Melbourne in 2011, and it was like 250, and I got three bedroom.
3 bedroom, yeah. So this was 1 bedroom, and that was 380.
There you go.
And I don't know if you have heard about the town called Moranbah. At that
Remember?
time, it was the Australia's highest, like the most expensive town. And the rent, you won't believe, it was for 1 week, it was like 1200 to 1300
Wow.
per week.
And just because of the mining industry
Mining,
boom.
yeah, mining
Yeah.
industry.
Yeah.
Yes,
Great.
yes.
Great. And so you guys, how long you stayed in Mackay for?
10 years.
10 years. And
Yeah.
what made you make a move back to Melbourne?
The world is round and you come back.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
Yes. uh, so after 10 years, everything was all settled, children grow, my kids have grown up. And then it was the time of my life when I decided that yes, now it's the time to take a little bit of step up.
Hmm.
And because I love art, I love music, I am a person who loves to be in the community more.
Yeah.
Because in Mackay also I did lots of multicultural events. I used to organize them. I used to call the mayor over there. We had Diwali in the Australian community over there. In all
Ah,
the childcares, we used to go and perform literally to
wow.
show that this is what our culture is.
Excellent. Excellent.
So
Excellent. Please send me something if you have, any clips or something so we can run during the podcast.
um, I do
Any
have
photographs, any old
yeah, I
photographs
do
or
have photographs back. Yeah,
yeah,
when we had the mayor of Mackay with us, we had a special coverage in Mackay 7 News. Uh, we did the garba and everything, and it was just
wow.
amazing. And he did with us. He came
Wow.
specially to do the
Wow.
garba. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So you were just like raising little India there, right?
Yes,
Having
yes. I used to
community.
celebrate 15th August over there. Still now, people have carried forward that now. So different performances. Now it is happening in a very good level, very good way. And I think that's needed for our community. That's needed for people to feel that they belong to this country, and the same thing. This country has given us so many things. So
Yep,
it's just celebrating. Yeah,
excellent. That's
yeah.
the way. So what you doing in Melbourne? The similar things or no? You
Yeah,
just stopped.
so no, 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 I have not stopped. So
Great,
in Melbourne,
great.
coming to Melbourne, I started with my book launch. I
Mm-hmm.
started with Nidhi Perception. I started with I would say that the book that I have written, because I love to be with the community, the book that I'm, well, like, whosoever buys my book, few
Mm-hmm.
percent I donate to Red Nose Foundation to help the infant children and families.
Yep.
um, I work with Mercy Palliative Care to help the
Mm.
community. I also work with Wyndham VEPN, that is Wyndham Emerging Professional Network Group, where we do different networking and different events on mental health and all, and also not only mental health but different on different topics. So we are the action group members, and I work with different communities. I give mental health coaching. Apart from that, I love to sing. I sing a lot. I go to. I have so many artist friends, like as you said, Ankit Trivedi. I know him very well personally. I know Ojas Adya. He's going to come in September, so a very good friend of mine. Rahul Sharmaji, and so like I've been into this community, so I love to listen to the music, talk with them, and just learn and relearn and unlearn the things.
Wow, wow, what a concept! Great, amazing, amazing, and that's the way it should be, right? Perfect, excellent. So, tell us about this, Nidhi. When you were in India, when you came to Australia, when you spent lot of time, 13 years by now, 13, 14 years, what's the difference you feel that if someone thinking to migrate to Australia, what's your advice to them?
um, I would say that when you start accepting and when you start living for certain years or for certain months, I think you just dissolve into it.
Hmm.
I don't find Australia anything different now. I just went to Dubai um, just before 3 weeks, I would say. Like
Right.
UAE, that was my, I had a conference over there, and I just felt that I was just looking back how Australia is and not how India is.
Hmm.
So, because that comparison was just very natural, I would say that, oh, in Australia we have got this, in Australia we have got this. I just feel so blessed to be in Australia. I feel Australia is so beautiful, it is so natural, and people are like, I think you just get that confidence. You just gel with people so easily. You just feel that even the culture is so welcoming that they have accepted us, and I think we have accepted them. And I cherish the place where I work, like St. John's. It's a beautiful Catholic school, and there is no one Indian over there. I'm the only person who is Indian,
Right.
and I never felt that I'm not the part of their team.
Team
They have,
community.
yeah. So I just feel that, I love to be with them, and we have so much of exchange of knowledge. We respect what we are. I think we celebrate our uniqueness, and this is what Australia is about. So I would say that if you are looking to come and settle over here, Melbourne is a multicultural city, and it has got everything that you can have, starting
Right.
from food to, even if you are a big fan of having a pan. So
Yes.
and
Yes. Absolutely.
or anything that you
Anything.
want, you won't miss
Yeah.
out over here.
Absolutely. And yes, yes, you say it and you have it. That's how the Melbourne
Yeah,
is, and even
yeah,
Sydney as well. Sydney, Perth, and these cities
yeah,
are being grown,
absolutely.
and yeah, it's amazing. Let's say when someone come to Australia nowadays, it's things are different. Like when we
Yeah,
arrived, I arrived in 2007. You arrived in 10, so it was at that back in the days the things were different. But now, just because of the internet, social media, and all other things, it's completely different world. When I came to Australia, I never saw a multi you know
yeah,
these Coles and what we call these
yeah.
supermarkets in India. It was nothing existed. Only Fun Republic was there in Ahmedabad. That's it.
Right.
And when I came here and I see the Coles, I say, "Oh my God, what's that?" But now for people, it's same. They got the same facility, same luxuries in India as well as in Australia. So when
Yeah.
someone's trying to settle in that space, when someone's trying to find their first job, find to get into, some students getting try and get into university, what's your suggestion to them to find what is the best place in Australia for anyone, not just from India, anywhere in the world? When they get into Australia, what should the first thing they look into it when they're trying to get into the workspace?
So you mean to say that if they are coming for studies or if they are coming
Study
for
or
work?
migration, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Like when they came to Australia, when they're trying to find a new job, find a new workspace for them, what should be back in their mind and they should take care of?
Okay. So as I said that, if I give my example, I was always looking for something. Say, for example, I love to work with children.
Hmm.
So I was always trying to search, and I was always trying to look where I can fit in terms of children. So my area can be a school, a childcare, a university, or something of that sort. So if a
Hmm.
person is coming, if a person knows that, okay, this is what I am looking for, this profession, or this is my profession, I would say that start searching for that thing in Australia, because Australia is something where you can get variety of people, variety of culture, variety. And nowadays, as you said, like internet is everywhere.
Hmm.
People will give you information in like no time. And now
Hmm.
new thing is AI.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. Hmm.
you just go for it, and I would say that search for it and just look, talk to. And another thing is, I would say, collaborate with different communities. We have got Pacifica community, we have got Indian communities, we have got Russian communities. We have got so many different communities where people, meet each other. They have that cultural interactions. Even if you look at each council website, we have got the council, they are so much fabulous because they work so hard for people, especially for the migrants, to
Hmm.
help them. I just
Please
went last
list
week.
few. Yeah, could you
Yeah,
please list few so that'll
yeah.
be
So
helpful.
Wyndham Council, I would say, because I just went there last week, and it was a migrate. It was a program for migrant women who are unable to get job in Australia, and
Wow.
and the reason was, I was really surprised to know that the women who were there, they were around 35, and the women who were there, they are all so well settled, and everyone is so much well educated, and they are still struggling to get a work. So what is the reason behind that, why we can't get into it? So
Hmm.
that was one of the struggles for them as a migrant. So many
Right.
of them said that, language has been a barrier, because when your first language is not English, of course, we can understand that how difficult it is to, make the other person understand that what you are trying to feel or what you are trying to say.
Hmm.
Another thing is, Australian culture has got a very specific way of recruitment, I would say. They
Mhm.
working more on your resume, how you are building that, and what skill sets you are looking for. Another thing is, Australia is more about understanding the work culture. Specifically, like if you have got a small certificate course from here, I would say it's more beneficial to get your work. I think that's another way of getting into it,
Then a
any
master
workforce.
master's degree.
Um, because yeah, because if you have got overseas master degree, I would say Australia always says that you need to have a small course that you have done in Australia. They always, I've always felt like that
Hmm.
because I have studied here too. So I can say that yes. And next thing is, I always feel that the studies over here is very practical. So
Mhm.
whatever you are studying is is exactly the same what you are working, and whatever you're working is whatever you are studying. So it is not something that you are learning something out of the blue or something that is just theoretical. It's
Hmm.
very practical. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah.
Absolutely right. And okay, so migrant are basically the part of community, and then when they try and get settled here, they struggle. They have some phases, that the gray phases we can talk about. Do you see, as a mental health practitioner, do you see the more of the migrants facing this issue and on a higher extent than local Australians?
Yes, absolutely. I do feel that, because I have many migrants parents
Hmm.
who have been struggling with their children in many different ways, because every country is different, and when they come over here, their expectation, of course, they are not going to be same.
Hmm.
So they struggle a lot in that sense, and I feel that they all are looking for some comfort zone, someone
Hmm.
to understand them. So, and also to give them a proper clarity of where they are stuck.
Hmm.
So I always felt that yes, if they are given a proper guideline, I think they can have a very comfortable life over here.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and while counseling people, when you face that, what is the most common mental anxiety or the what we say, these mental problems that migrant face? It is a job, it is a family issues, or it is something else that bothers them a lot.
Um, I would say the first thing is job.
Mm-hmm.
Finding a job is one of the biggest struggle,
Mm-hmm.
because they don't know where to go, why to go, or maybe as a migrant, I have always seen one thing in the clients is everyone wants to get a job, so they are ready to compromise, and they just feel that okay, say for example, a cleaner job is very easy to get. Let me go for it. So there is a loss of patience. People just don't be patient enough, and And I do understand that, of course, money is not everything, but yet it's the priority for everyone. But again, I would say that trying and getting help from Central Link, because they also help to get the job. So if you go and ask them, they help you with what your profession is. We have got many different employment pathways. They also help you with different things, and they will guide you. So I say that, for job, if you're struggling for job, access all this information, go out, talk to people, and get this information. And I think that's the first thing they are struggling with.
Right.
Yeah.
And let's talk about general, not migrants, not Australians. It's all about general. Let's say modern society.
Yeah.
How the modern society is dealing with the stress. Let's say social media is one of the biggest influence on people and their mindset. How's modern society doing? And AI, as you just mentioned, that AI is also going with the full speed right now. And in this situation, everybody has to maintain that balance. So, but first question is, how we doing as a modern society? How we doing in terms of mental health?
Okay. First of all, people really don't know what stress is, because what happens is, this is now, the stress is something like internet,
Hmm.
Google.
Yeah.
So whatever you do, oh, I'm stressed. Oh, today it was a stressful day.
Yeah.
So do we really understand what is stress? No.
No.
Because we all feel that, okay, that person is saying stressful, or I'm stressed. It is same like, you know what, I'm really busy. It is the
Hmm.
same statement. But
Yes.
what is busy? I never say I'm busy. It is just about working out your priorities. Right. So, same way, when I say, I always feel personally that stress is something that you don't like and you still do it.
Hmm.
So, that
Hmm.
is what I feel, that is stress. But
Yeah.
because if I give you an example, that when you are really very happy, and if I tell you that you have to do this work, or maybe 15 things in a day, I think you will go and end up with 20 things in a day, because you are very happy from inside. You want to go for a party, you are full of energy, but you're not stressed. How
No.
come? So
Uh, because you
that's the
love what
basic
you
thing.
do. Hmm.
Yes. So for me, I think people should work, and people should try to think that, because there are certain things for everyone, even for me, that, say for example, I work every day, starting waking up in the morning, going, having public transportation, or maybe in a car and everything. At the end of the day, I come home, I have to cook. Even though I don't like it, I have to think about it, right? To feed my family. Or maybe if I get that option out, or maybe, say for example, my partner is cooking, and
Hmm.
say for example, I have to sit with my children, and I have to give them time. And if I don't like that, I have got no way out, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
we are responsible for what we are deciding, and we are responsible for what we are really looking for our life to be.
Right.
So stress is something, if you feel that, okay, I don't want to cook today, that's all right. You can go
Okay.
for a dinner, have a
Okay.
wonderful dinner date with your family, and that's it. But for the next day, if that is happening, that means you need to work on it. You need to tell yourself that it's all right.
Hmm.
Sometimes, not, you don't get everything that you like. So sometimes you have to work in that sense.
Yeah.
So understanding certain things is really important.
Yeah.
Coming back to mental health stress, yes, there are people who are really struggling with their stress. They are really struggling to understand their emotions. They are really struggling to cope with that thing. And they just get stuck. When
Hmm.
this situation comes, that is where, as a mental health professional, we come into the picture. And that is where we give them interventions. We talk with them and we come out with a plan. We work with them in a very specific way and we help them to come out of that mindset, and we give them certain what you call certain ways of how to deal with their stress, because we don't want anyone to be dependent. We want even our children to be independent. We want ourselves to be independent at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I never want my clients to just come to me all the time and say that, I'm in stress and Nidhi, I just need you now.
Mm.
No, it is you can work for
Yeah.
your stress and you are capable enough to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, yes, understanding stress is the first thing. But still, I go back to my own first the question that as a modern society, how we doing? Are we mentally healthy or we not?
Mm, Again, healthiness is something very individual, I would say,
Yeah.
because I would give you an example for this. I went to one of my friend's place
Mm.
and she opened the door and
Mm.
she said, and when I look at her, I just said that, oh my God, you have reduced a lot. And she was not happy actually to listen to that, and she did not took as a compliment. So I
Right.
just told her that really you have reduced a lot, and I just feel so lucky, like I just feel like so good for you that wow, and I'm just trying and I could not. And after some time, she was just sitting and she was asking me that, why do you think, Nidhi, that I have reduced a lot is a good thing, is a compliment? So I said that, you know what? People are just lining up for the gym. They just want to go every day, have so much of protein in them, scaling and working on their diet, having a professional with them to reduce their weight. And you're doing so well. And she told me that, no, Nidhi, I think that because I'm having so much of stress that I want to gain weight, but I can't.
Oh my God.
So, what I am thinking healthy is not necessary a healthy thing for the another person,
Correct.
right?
It's a
So the
total
same
different.
thing,
Yeah.
absolutely a different way. Say for example, if a person is, say for example, 85, 90 kgs, that person might feel absolutely so happy in himself or herself. They're
Hmm.
happy, they don't want to reduce, they just feel that wow, this is my world and I'm confident enough to carry what I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that person is healthy. So when you're talking in terms of healthiness, people take that in a very different way,
Hmm.
their mental state, because again that has got so many different things, so it is again very individual. If we talk in a very generalized way, I would say people mental health is not going that good. Why? Why?
Why?
Because somewhere we are missing on communication.
Yeah.
I can see so many gadgets, I can see so many different things in front of me, but from my inner side I don't have any person to talk. My emotional bucket is still empty,
There you go. There you
right?
go.
So
It's spot on.
this mechanic or this AI can give me all the answers, but this AI is not going to tell me that it's okay, Nidhi, you will be all right, right? So
Yeah.
I feel that this modern age is where from inside people are broken. People
Hmm.
feel that we need somebody. I have got all the luxuries in my life. I've got a good job. I've got everything. But I don't know. There is still something missing in me.
Sing
I'm
inside me.
still, I don't know. People often they don't understand. People they don't know what they are hunting for, but there
Hmm.
is a something which they are looking for.
Hmm.
And I feel, and that is affecting their mental health because they can't give their 100% to what they are doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Great.
So,
That's what the answer
yeah.
I was expecting. Excellent answer. Perfect. And that will help a lot of people. Okay. So can we more talk a little bit more about anxiety? We just got 10 minutes left, but yes,
Yeah.
can you please focus something on anxiety as well, so people at least understand what is anxiety and how to work it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. So anxiety is something, again, everyone faces. So when we talk about moving from your comfort zone to some another comfort zone, it is always an anxiety situation. But
Yeah.
again, every person, from it all depends on the background, it all depends on your upbringing and so many different factors. People have different levels of anxiety. But
Hmm.
yes, if you say, as a mental health professional, I do have anxiety. Yes,
Hmm.
I do feel that, okay, I have to give a conference in front, on a different platform, say for example, in front of different professionals or different country. Yes, I do feel for a moment that, oh my god, am I going to do good? Am I going to be all right? Am I going to say something okay? Yes, we all do feel that. But
Hmm.
again, how you are dealing with that anxiety is very important.
Hmm.
I always say, so when a client comes to me for anxiety, I always start with them by not going into any conversations and
Hmm.
introducing to a certain level of silence,
All right.
because I think it is very important to understand that. It is very important for a client or for an individual to understand what silence is, because that gives you that moment of getting back into yourself.
Great.
So, yeah. So, anxiety is basically, you should understand, okay, I'm in this level of anxiety, this is where I'm heading to, but it's
Hmm.
all right, you can still do it.
Great. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you so much for that. That will, I think, help a lot of people to how to come out of that. Okay, so before we wrap up, what are your best tips for the general well-being and mental health to our audience? Thank you.
uh, Lastly, I would just say that if you feel that even a single thought, even for a second, if you feel that you want to talk, just don't wait for your second thought to come or that thought to erase. Come and talk,
Right.
communicate. I always
Coming.
say that it is very important to talk, express yourself, and then solutions are always there.
Great.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much, Nidhi. And this is the question we always ask to all of our guests. So you are not exempt out of this question. So we haven't had a chance to talk a lot about the migration and migration policies and all that because of the time limitation. But usually I talk about what's your view on the migration policies that government is currently having. But let's say if you have a power and if you want to change, you see a lot of migrants facing visa issues, and when they get migrated, they don't have that. Plus, migrants who are already in Australia, they want to bring their parents, and they've struggled to bring them here. They want to keep them permanently. They can't do it. Out of all these migration problems, if you have a power, if you have that magic wand to change one thing out of this Australian immigration system, what would you suggest or want to change?
Now this is giving me anxiety. Because this is not my cup of tea that I have
That's
to
okay.
answer, but
Like, see, it's not just about the residency. Like, let's say you might need to bring your parents. That's why I just gave you a hint. You want to bring your parents and want to bring them permanently, but you might not be able to do it just because of these bloody immigration policies. And it's harmful for a lot of people, and especially the mental health moms who are raising kids, and plus working balance, work life balance, and all that. It's hard, and everybody cannot afford to have a childcare support, and they want to bring their parents here, and they can't. Their parents have to go overseas for 6 months. That's compulsion. So those sorts of policy that any of your client or you have faced and say, oh, this shouldn't be there.
uh, seriously, this is a tricky one for me. But
Keep it.
um,
That's it.
I
I'm
would
honest.
say that, as a, if I want to call my parents, I would say, like, there should be something at least for a family to stay here long for 3 years, like all together, and they don't have to go after 1 year or so, because I think that would be really helpful.
Mm.
if they can stay here for a long and help the family,
Mm.
yeah, and
And at least
eventually, like for a longer period of time, yeah.
how long a period, and get some health support, Medicare support, or something. That'll be,
Yes, yes,
yeah.
that would be good. Yes.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time, Nidhi. And it is
All
a wonderful session, I would say. But I'm still feel that I had a lot of questions to ask you, but I couldn't finish them all just because
Oh,
of
is
time
it?
limitation. So next time, whenever you get a chance, I would recommend that if you have at least an hour or two, please join with us. Let us know that okay, Krunal, I'm able to join your podcast in next week or
Yeah,
two
yeah, yeah.
to accommodate that as well. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
cannot thank you enough for your time and out
No,
of your busy schedule. So thank you so much for joining our podcast. And please let us know if you can help anything, any events, and anywhere you're going or anything you're doing for the community. We are happy to help in this sense. And if anyone who needs help with the mental health, Nidhi is there. I will leave her
yeah.
contact details in the description. So please reach out to Nidhi. She'll be a great help. Thank you, Nidhi, for joining us, and have great pleasure to having you in our podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kunal. And it was a pleasure to have this beautiful conversation. I'm looking forward to have another one with you.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank